Hey guys, welcome to or back to my channel and welcome to another book video. In today's video, I'm going to be telling you every single book that I read in May. I'm so unprepared. I didn't count how many books. Give me a second and I'll be back to you. 13. That's quite a nice number. So I'm just going to get straight into it. If you are interested, my Goodreads and my Fable are in the description of all my videos, just in case you kind of want to see real-time updates of the books that I am reading. So yeah, I'm just going to get straight into it. Also, I did vlog a lot of these, so if you want to go and watch the reading vlogs, if I can, I will try and remember to link them when I'm talking about the specific books. If not, they're all in the books folder on my YouTube. So the first book, this was at the end of a video that I will... Is this not recording anymore? I can't tell. Is this working? I'm so confused. I actually can't tell if my microphones are working or not. I'm just gonna ditch them. Give me a second. Oh, I'm so stupid. Guys, I'm such a fool. Guys, I'm actually so stupid. Okay, we're back. I'm really stupid and I forgot to plug my thing in for the microphone. Anyway, so you could hear me. I was just speaking, holding a microphone, but obviously it wasn't picking up my microphone. Anyway, let's get started. So my first book that I read in May, well, that I finished in May, I think I started it in April, was Things We Hide from the Light by Lucy Score. I gave it 3.75 stars. So this is the second book in the Knock 'Em Out series. I did really enjoy the first book. I think I might have given it 5 stars or pretty close, but I read it so long ago. I don't know if my feelings would have changed now, but I did enjoy it at the time. Do with that what you will. So the main male character in this is the brother of the main male character in the first book, and he's called Nash, and he's recovering because it was an incident at the end of the last book that resulted in him being... Actually, I don't really want to say it just because, first of all, YouTube guidelines, second of all, kind of spoiler alert. So he's dealing with an injury, he's trying to cope with it, trying to recover, but he's also the chief of police, so he needs to kind of still show up whilst also dealing with this traumatic thing that happened to him. And Lena is the female main character, and she's just moved into town and she's living in the flat that is opposite the one that Nash is living in. But Lena is kind of hiding the real reason that she's in town. She used to date Nash's brother and like very platonic now, like they're very much just friends, obviously, but she is kind of acting like that's the reason she's in town, but she's hiding the real reason, and she knows that Nash kind of won't be happy if he knew what she was actually doing in town. And she also like doesn't do relationships as everyone in these books doesn't. So she's trying to kind of keep him at arm's length because Nash is very much like chief of police, like family man, you know, wanting like a serious relationship, and she knows that's just not going to be her. So I did enjoy this book, but definitely not as much as I enjoyed Things We Never Got Over. I think it was just way too long. It was... How long was it actually? Where is it? There it is. Was it like 600 or 700 pages? It was too long. It was just under 600, which is just an absolutely insane length for a romance book. And there was a bit of mystery, which to be fair did make it a lot more interesting, but still it was just like kind of boring. If it had been 400 pages, I'd have probably given it a higher rating, but I was just like, it was just dragging and it was boring and I was sick of it by the end, which is why the rating was lower. But definitely kind of the mystery and the investigation about what happened at the end of the last book and the effects that it had on Nash, kind of with that we were investigating, were like, that was very interesting, and I did enjoy that element. Obviously kind of the circumstances weren't nice. I do like a thriller mystery, that type of thing, so the fact that we kind of had that play into it, I was a big fan of. Then I read First Time Caller by B.K. Borison, and I give this one just a straight 4 stars. Wow, it feels ages since I read these books. Aiden is the main male character, and he is the host of a radio show that talks about love and kind of gives advice to callers who, you know, are calling in asking for advice on their relationships. So one night Lucy hears her daughter on the phone, and she obviously goes in because she's like, who the hell are you talking to? Her daughter's really young, well, like not old enough to be chatting on the phone at all hours of the night, and she's called in to Aiden's radio station asking for advice to give to Lucy, who's her mum, about kind of what she should do relationship wise. And Lucy then kind of starts talking on the phone to Aiden, and the little clip goes viral, and the radio show is kind of struggling, so they decide to invite her to be a regular guest to, you know, spice things up, but also because everyone's so invested in Lucy's kind of relationship status now, because everyone's like, oh, she's so sweet, we love her, let's try and help her find love. So she goes on the radio show, and she, through the book, kind of goes on different dates, tests out different relationships that she has kind of proposed to her through the radio show. If you think about it, kind of dangerous, because like there was a phone that people would just text and then she'd just like go on dates with some of them. Like that's kind of creepy. But whatever, it's fine. You know where it goes from there. I don't need to tell you anymore. I did really like this book. I thought the chemistry was really good. I will say that was probably one of the best parts of the book. My only issue is that it did feel like sometimes we had quite unnecessary conflict that very easily could have just been avoided, and that like there was no need for it to be there, which is kind of the definition of unnecessary. You know what I mean though? Like it just got to a point where it was like, we don't need this to be real. It also felt like a unique book. I know people have drawn kind of connections between this and Sleepless in Seattle, is that what it's called? Which I think I watched once very long ago, or like I watched part of it. Like it's ringing a bell and I can kind of picture it. I can't remember too much. So yeah, if you like that, watch it. You know, but like what I mean is it was quite a new concept. It wasn't insanely repetitive, because some books that you read, it's like, I've read this before in 5 different ways. Then I read the last 2 books in the Maple Hill series. I say that as if there's loads of books, there's 3 books. I read Icebreaker so long ago, but I read Wildfire and I gave it a 4 stars. I did enjoy it. It's honestly like, not that it's forgettable, but now I finished it on the 11th of May and it's currently the 2nd of June, and like loads of it isn't, I can obviously remember it and picture it. Obviously not the most memorable book that I've ever read. Why did I struggle spitting that out so much? Memorable. So Russ and Aurora are the 2 main characters, and they go to the same college and they meet at a college party and they get together that night, and then Russ is in the bathroom and just doesn't come out, so Aurora decides to leave, and there's kind of miscommunication there, but they both think, you know, this is it. It was a one-night thing. It's over. You know, kind of no bad blood. I don't think they'd met before this point, or if they have, like only in passing. So it wasn't like the most detrimental thing ever until they discover they're going to work at the same summer camp. So Russ very much needs this job at the summer camp, and Aurora's trying to prove that she's, you know, responsible. So they both kind of decide to obviously continue working there, but there's definitely a lot of tension. I like the setting. It's a bit more exciting when you're not just set at like a college or a school or like an office, you know, where you're set at like a summer camp. I don't know, it's just a bit more fun. And also, as the weather's heating up, I read this in Greece by the pool, and that's like exactly where you want to be reading this type of book over summer. So if you haven't read it, it's perfect for the summer months. But yeah, the tension was really good. I really liked it. I don't have too much else to say. Like, yeah, it was really good. I would recommend it. Obviously it's nothing groundbreaking, but I know that kind of Icebreaker gets a lot of hate. I know obviously it's liked by a lot of people, but a lot of people hate on just it in general, and I read it so long ago, like I can't remember too much. But from these 2 books, you know, the 2nd and 3rd book in the series, they are really good. You know, like nothing absolutely crazy, but they are enjoyable. I did enjoy reading both of them, and I'd recommend them. You know, like I feel like sometimes books just get unnecessary hate, so I would say don't like be put off reading it just because you've heard bad things. Then I read Daydream by, oh yeah, Hannah Grace again. Don't know why I'm saying that as if it's not the exact same author as the last one. Gave this one 4.25 stars, so slightly better than the last one. So Henry is the main male character, and he's friends with kind of the other boys in the books. And well, when I was reading the reviews, I saw everyone saying how excited they were for Henry's book, and because I read Icebreaker so long ago, like I didn't even remember Henry because he's not really in the 2nd book. So I feel like I might have not even enjoyed it more, but I'd have had more background. Not that you need much background, you know what I mean though. Like if I'd read the whole series back to back to back, then I might have not even enjoyed it more, but just like remembered him more, because he felt like a new character rather than like a returning character. Anyway, so Henry is struggling with his classes, and it's threatening his position as the captain of the hockey team. And I feel like this is literally every other book ever. Like this is the Nell Kennedy book written, you know, what's it called? The Deal. The first one, that's literally the exact same. Was he captain? I don't know. Similar, tutored, whatever. So Hal and Henry have mutual friends, and Hal really enjoys this class that Henry's taking that he's struggling with. So she offers to kind of help him, because she's not taking a class, but like she understands what the professor wants and needs, and she also just like enjoys helping people. She's very much that type of person. So yeah, they meet because Hal has book club. She has a lot of responsibilities, and she's also just gone through a breakup. So she's also dealing with the fact that kind of her whole life revolved around this boy who went to a different college, and now she's almost got this extra time. Like she's starting a new job, she's got this book club, like everything is kind of changing for her. So she does have a lot on her plate. She kind of stacks up. I know I just said she has lots of time, but I more mean like she's currently picked up lots of responsibilities because of kind of the breakup. You know, like she joined starting this book club because she wasn't going to before. I don't know, I'm not making sense right now. Basically, she's busy gal, but she still offers to help him, and she's also writing a book. And so he's like, I can't really just accept help without offering you something in return. So she hasn't like had too many romantic experiences. Yes, she obviously had an ex, but like it was very much kind of, they were friends and it was honestly kind of friendly. Like they hadn't done you know what. I don't want to say it because YouTube's just funny sometimes, but you know, so Henry offers to take her on dates and help give her some experiences. I definitely think it was my favorite book in the series, because I can't really remember Icebreaker, but I don't think I enjoyed it like that much. I don't know why I rated it, but I used to rate books really highly. I usually used to give everything a 5-star. And the friendship between Hal and Henry was very, very cute. I did really enjoy that. And also just the whole friend group. It's kind of, wait, I don't really like the setup. That's better. If you're kind of missing the El Kennedy type of friendship groups, I'd say go for it. If you're missing the hockey team friendship groups, this is a good replacement, a new one for you to get into. Okay. Then a few of the next books that I read were arcs. So this next one, I actually didn't realize that it was a children's book. It's a graphic novel, which I did know, but I didn't know it was just for children. It's called Dracula's Brunch Club, and I gave it a 4 stars. I thought it was cute. It was about Dracula, and he made donuts and he'd run out of the jam to go in it, jelly as they call it, and there was a little bit of drama about it. Like it was sweet. I've only really read Heartstopper as a graphic novel, at least like in recent years. I did really like it. I thought it was really cute. So if you're looking for a graphic novel, let me check actually when it comes out because I'm not quite sure. And also there was like a cute little romance going on in there, like a little crush situation, which is just cute, you know. Oh, it's coming out on the 12th of August. That's kind of far away. Where I'm going to sneeze. But I would recommend it if you're looking for a graphic novel. Then this might be my favorite book of the month. I don't know if I gave any books 5 stars, so if not, then I think this is my favorite book. It's called The Summer of Us by Taylor Crooks. Again, an arc, but let me just check. I think it's already out. I think I read it like the day before it was coming out, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it's already out, so you can go and read it. I gave it 4.5 stars. So Quinn has been going to her aunt's summer house every summer, you know, for a few months for the past, I think it was 8 years. And over those years, she's, you know, formed a friendship group, very close with this certain group of people. You know, she's had little crushes, little romances, all of that jazz. And she's also been spending a lot of time with her aunt and her cousin. And she's there one last time before going to college. But something happened last summer, and I'm not going to tell you because it's kind of implied very early on, but you are not explicitly told until maybe halfway. And also, yeah, so I'm not going to tell you just because you discover it for yourself. Something happened last summer, which is kind of making everything a bit more difficult being there and putting a shadow over everything that is happening. I loved this book. I thought it was such a good summer book. Obviously, it had deep kind of topics, and it also covered friendship, like family relationships, love, like romantic relationships. It covered so many different things, and it just felt so like it was so good. And it felt very realistic, and the touch on kind of pain and grief was, I think it was done very well, which is obviously good, and I'm very obsessed with it. Honestly, it could probably be a 5 stars. I gave it 4.25, but I could probably bump it up. Next, I read Racing Heart by Darcy St. John, also received as an arc, but I also believe that this is already out. I was just trying to read arcs that were coming out soon. So, oh no, it comes out on the 5th of June. Oh, which when you're seeing this, does this? No, yeah, it will be out by the time that you've seen this. So go and read it. Well, if you want to. 3.5 stars. It's about racing, what book did I try and read? There was some series about Formula 1 races that I read. It wasn't the Lauren Asher book. It wasn't like the Love Redesigned. Is that what that's called? Yeah, it wasn't that. Is there a series called like Throttled? You know, where one of the books is called Throttled or something like that. Maybe I'm getting it completely wrong, but I kind of like that name's ring a bell. Anyway, I DNF'd it. I don't even know if it was the kind of the driving part of it. I think it was more just I didn't like the book as a whole. Anyway, Jordan was forced to stop racing a year ago due to an accident that put both him and another driver, who now is his brother-in-law, in the hospital. And he's struggling kind of with what to do without racing playing such a big role in his life like it has always done. And he's in Wales before going to his sister's wedding in Scotland. They are American, so like, yeah, because obviously Wales, Scotland, quite far. But yeah, they're American, so like nothing but you know what I mean though. It's not like if a British person was going to a wedding in Scotland, they're not going to go and stay in Wales whilst they wait for the wedding, is my point. But when you're from a different country, obviously like you're on whatever, Amelia, stop talking, you know what I mean. And he meets Pearl, who is the female main character, on the beach after she's just found out some very shocking and honestly confusing, as in when you're reading the names, it took me so long to work out what was going on, news about her family. And so she's quite upset, and they spend the night together, although I don't think they can't spend the night, if you know what I mean. But they spend the night, I can't even remember, I don't think they do, whatever. They sleep in the same beach hut together that night. And then Jordan asks Pearl if she wants to be his +1 to his wedding. Bearing in mind they've known each other maybe 24 hours. This book also does cover grief. I will just say that. Pre-warning, kind of unexpected as well. Yeah, if that's kind of a trigger for you, obviously that's not a spoiler because it could happen at any point in the book. But yeah, just be warned. So yeah, I thought it was very much insta love, and there kind of wasn't much of a focus on the kind of the feelings itself, which I wasn't too much of a fan on. I just wish that we focused more on kind of the development of the actual romance and of the relationship, and kind of knowing the characters and everything that they're feeling. And I feel like it might be because the book was in third person, so if you know me, you know that I don't like third person. Like, you've just got that disconnect going on that I just like. This is always the issue, that it's just like not, I can like never connect with third person. I also, obviously, we get a bit of a wedding setting for some of it, which I did really enjoy, but it was kind of short, but like I did like that, so that was good. Okay, then is this my first DNF of the year? I think it might be, actually. I'm not opposed to DNFing. I just have picked up relatively good books, or books that, even if they weren't incredible, are good enough not to DNF. But this was, I think, my first DNF of the year. It was The Chemistry of Love. I DNF'd it about 40%. The character, insufferable. She quits her job to be with this man who she has spoken to maybe 3 times, but he's kind of above her. So she quits her job to be with this man, and she does not know who she is. Like, she's spoken to him, and like he doesn't know who she is. And his brother proposes that she dates him to then make the person she quit her job for jealous, so that then she can date that, and then he can be like, it was such a stupid book. I just had to like, it was so stupid. Then I read None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. I really liked this. It was so good. So Josie and Alex are both celebrating their, how old is it, 45th birthday, and they find out that they're born on the same day. You know, they're both in the same place celebrating, and they discover they're both 45 and both kind of turn 45 on that day. So Josie goes to introduce herself to Alex, and then Alex has a podcast. She's kind of famous. So when Josie kind of figures that out, she starts listening to the podcast, and she decides that she would be the suitable candidate to kind of start a new series, because Alex's podcast is very much kind of talking about women and empowerment and things that they've done to change their life. And so Josie goes to Alex and says, well, I'm going to change my life. Like, I'm about to do your podcast about me. And Alex is a bit like, okay. And so they meet outside of Alex's school one day. Josie just appears not out of Alex's school, out of Alex's children's school. Josie just suddenly appears one day. Odd. Very odd. Very, very, very odd. So Alex is uncertain, but Josie is very persuasive, and so they agree and start recording. So in the book, you are watching kind of this all unravel, and you're in both point of view of Josie and Alex, and then you're also in kind of the future of when, you know, something has happened, and there is a Netflix documentary about it, and you're seeing the transcripts from, you know, the podcast, and you know that something has happened and that something has gone down, and you're trying to figure out what has gone down and who it was, who it involved. Yeah, it was really good. I couldn't put it down. I was obsessed with it. I think this was my 5-star, actually. Yeah, it just took so many twists and turns, and there were so many questions even up to the last chapter. I still had so many questions, which is what you like about a book. Like, you want that to be the case. Then I read 5 Years From Now by Josie Silver. It's just near me. I haven't got any of the books out today. I apologise. I gave this one 3.5 stars. Kind of disappointed in it. I was really excited for it, but yeah. So Nell and Van's parents were together between the ages of 5 and 10, as in when Nell and Van were 5 and 10. And so they spent several years living together. Nell moved in with them. It wasn't from when she was 5, it was maybe from when she was like 6 or 7, but they kind of grew up as best friends. Not so much, like, I don't want to say they grew up as brother and sister, as you're going to find out. It was more, honestly, like, I genuinely would say it was as best friends. They weren't making it seem like they were brother and sister. They were friends. Their parents were together, but they were just like best friends. But when they're 10, they are unfortunately forced apart, and Nell stays in Cornwall with her dad. Every 5 years, they find themselves coming back together, but every time one of them is in a relationship or one of them's just kind of not ready, there's different horrible situations going on that keep dragging them back together. And yeah, a quote from it that I just thought was really good is, "One day, maybe 5 years from now, you'll look back and understand why this happened." I feel like this is very much kind of the message. I just had such mixed feelings. I feel like the ending was just not right whatsoever, and it really dragged down my rating. It just didn't make sense. It really didn't make sense for it. Especially, I don't know how to say this. So the last chapter, you find out kind of how things are now and how they're going to be for the rest of time. And it's kind of, it wasn't the ending I'd liked. It's kind of like, okay, but then literally the last page, it then flips it again, and it's like, oh, but what? Don't do that to me. It just, like, the ending was just awful. It was truly awful, and I've seen a lot of other people say that, and it just, like, didn't even feel realistic because none of the feelings backed up what was happening. And I know that sometimes you do the things without feeling, but Nell is very much, she does things based on how she's feeling, and she just wasn't. So I was like, what are you doing, girl? Fix yourself. It was hard going into it because obviously it is technically like a step sibling romance, although their parents only dated, they never were married, and also for 5 years when they were children. Like, I feel like it is slightly different, but also still a bit icky. It's like there's so many people in the world, but also, I don't know, it's so tricky. It is really tricky. I think I've only read 2 or 3 step sibling things. This was obviously the best one, because often they are awful, but still, it's like, you could have picked someone else. And also, the 5-year time jumps every time, it was just, this might sound so silly, but at the chapter, when you had a jump, it didn't even say 5 years later, you just jumped. And even if it just said 5 years later, it would have been better. It just felt so abrupt and oh, we're moving. Oh, we're doing it again. Okay. Oh, it's 5 years later. It was just kind of abrupt, and there was kind of no, I don't know. It was just slightly disappointing. I just felt like we were missing something, which is really sad because I had high hopes for it. Okay, then I read Funny Story by Emily Henry. I gave it 4 stars. So Daphne is the main female character, and her fiance Peter has just left her for his best friend Petra, and Petra has an ex called Miles. So Daphne is now kind of doesn't have a home. She was living in Peter's home, it was his house that he owned, and she kind of, all of her friends were Peter's friends, and the only thing she kind of had going for her was this job at the library that she really loved because she was kind of a children's librarian, and that's kind of what she wanted to do. So she knew she wanted to stick around, but didn't have anywhere to stay, didn't have any friends. So Miles offered for her to go and live with him because he now had space in his apartment, and he was like, why wouldn't you? So they quickly formed a friendship, but also pretend to be dating for Petra and Peter so that they can kind of see, oh, what you did not affect us, even though obviously it did affect them. I really don't know. I feel like Emily Henry books always slightly let me down, and I hate to say that. It's just, I think because so many people rate them 5 stars, I always expect it to be a 5-star, and yes, it's a 4-star, which is really good, but I'm always expecting it to be incredible, and it's always good, good, full stop. It's never incredible, it's not life-changing, it's just good, and there's nothing wrong with that. It just felt anticlimactic, and I was just expecting a bit more. I was just, something was missing, And I don't know, like, obviously I know everyone has different taste, but like I'm wondering what it was about the book that made so many people give it a 5-star and say it was their favorite. Like, I want to know what it was about the book, because like, am I missing something? And I know we all view books differently, and I do really enjoy Emily Henry books, but I was a bit confused about kind of what I felt like I was missing something, and I didn't quite know what. But it was good. I did enjoy it, and I would recommend it to you. Then I read Assistant to the Villain, and I was very disappointed. Gave it 3.5 stars, which I know is good, but like, I was expecting incredible. I was expecting it to be, because I knew it was a fantasy, and I was like, this is perfect, because I, still new to fantasy. I was like, I know it's not going to be a very complex world. It's YA. I think it's YA, or like it's that type of vibe. It's kind of comedic, or it was meant to be. It was a bit lighthearted. I just thought, this is going to be what I need to fully immerse myself in the fantasy world and fully prepare. It just didn't hit. So Evie has recently lost her job and money is running low. So one day she's in the woods and she runs into the villain, and he offers her a job, and it's hard to say no. So she says yes. And after a few months of kind of witnessing the horrors of the villain, but also of getting to know him, they discover that there is someone who is trying to sabotage the villain, and it's someone from the inside, or someone close to them. And so she's starting to kind of, form feelings, not even necessarily romantic, but also like she just knows the villain isn't all kind of he's cracked up to be. All the rumors are not true. So, she wants to kind of help him. And so she starts kind of investigating it. I just thought the book was really hard to get into, and it felt really slow. And I just it read slowly, and I was just kind of bored. And it was just, it wasn't the best. I did like the villain's point of view, but apart from that, it just dragged a bit, if I'm being honest with you. And then the last book that I read was Death Row by Frida McFadden. This is a short story. I think I got it on Amazon First Read, Prime, First Choice, whatever it's called. Like at the start of the month where you get to pick a book that you want to read for free. It was this. I don't even know how to describe it. Read it, but also I gave it a 3-star. Like, it was so confusing. How Frida likes a plot twist. Picture you've got like 2-3 major plot twists within 70 pages. Like the book 70 pages, not even the last 70 pages. It was just, what is going on? So yeah, but that's it. That is every book that I read in May. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far in the video, comment down below. What do I want you to comment? Comment down below the wave emoji for Our Last Summer. Is that what that book's called? I always forget book names. I think it was called Our Last Summer though, wasn't it? Oh no, The Summer of Us. Why have I been saying Our Last Summer? The Summer of Us. It could be called Our Last Summer, to be fair. That would be quite a good name. Is there another book called that? Anyway, comment the wave emoji for that book. I love you. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on post notifications. Comment down below. Like I said, like the video. Yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. I love you. Goodbye.